course, we're going to take a little bit of a look back in time for the history of the day. And we go back to the year 474 AD. Zeno was crowned co-emperor of the what is then known as the what is now known as the Byzantine Empire or the Roman Empire, Eastern Roman Empire, with his son Leo. The second was at the time just 6 years old. In the year 661, Rashidun Caliphate, and then the largest empire in history, ended with the death of its leader, Ali, and that was succeeded by the Umayyad Caliphate. In the year 1595, on this day, William Shakespeare's play Romeo and Juliet is thought to have been first performed and officially published early in 1597, 2 years later. In the year 1886, on this day, Carl Benz patented the Benz patent Motorwagen in Karlsruhe, Germany, the world's first automobile with an internal combustion engine. 1892, on this day, the Coca-Cola Company was incorporated in Atlanta, Georgia. 1896, on this day, American Emil Gruber was the first doctor to use radiation treatment for breast cancer. In 2002, on this January the 29th, U.S. President George W. Bush, in his State of the Union address, described regimes that sponsor terror as an axis of evil, and those were included were Iran, Iraq, and North Korea. And in the year 2025, U.S. Army helicopter practicing night vision flying crashed midair into a commercial jet, killing all 67 passengers aboard, including dozens of figure skaters and crew members over the Potomac River while approaching Ronald Reagan National Airport in Washington, D.C. And we now move on to our dish of the day.
Serving now, the Daily Dish.
Well, welcome back to our program for today. And of course, our apologies for not being able to come in yesterday. We do hope that we'll be able to make it up as the week goes on. Yesterday, of course, was the start of the Independence Relay. And it has become a staple of the National Independence celebrations, and certainly has a very broad appeal across the entire country. And of course, that is because it really goes into nearly every community one can imagine. And the event certainly has been one that unites St. Lucians of all different walks of life. And it kicked off yesterday in the constituency of the Prime Minister, Member of Parliament there for Castries East. And of course, lots of individuals being honored, lots of individuals taking part in the event, school children from the respective constituency schools, the likes of the Bishop Charles Gachet Primary School, formerly the Marshall Combined School, the Leon Hess Castries, Leon Hess Comprehensive School in Entrepot, the Entrepot Secondary School, as well, of course, coming out and being a major player in the festivity, and then also the students of the Bocage Secondary as well as the Bocage Combined Schools. They too were part of the event. I believe also the students of the T. Rocher Combined School. That school somewhat straddling the a number of constituencies, Castries Southeast as well as Castries East. They all, of course, took part, as well as students of some preschools in the community. Very relatively dense constituency, that of Castries East, particularly within the area of Marcia, Entrepot, Chabot, Bocage. Quite a number of people living in those communities, Pave as well. And so certainly we hope that it was an enjoyable time for all those who in fact participated. Also happening yesterday was the National Awards of Excellence, and an opportunity for the country to recognize academic achievement and performance, in particular at the CXC examinations, both CSEC as well as CAPE. And that happened at the National Cultural Center that was being put on by the Ministry of Education. Another very, very well put together event yesterday, although not formally part of the Independence calendar, but actually part of the Nobel Laureate Festival calendar. And that was being put on by the South Louis Community College, that of Writers in the Spotlight. And it certainly has grown. Originally, this event put on by the Hunter J. Francois Library was very much more contained in that it was within the precincts of the library. It was an opportunity to recognize authors and for authors to be able to talk about their books. And it has certainly mushroomed into a much larger event that has spilled onto the lawns of the Sir Arthur Lewis Community College, and really has become effectively a wonderful fair of sorts, book fair, but really just a wonderful opportunity for young people to be able to have some fun and actually learn through a number of different ways. And very, very impressive production, thanks to the Sir Arthur Lewis Community College. And hopefully, if you didn't take it in this year or the year before, you definitely want to be able to do so in the years to come. I'm pretty certain everybody has been speaking quite proudly of the event and giving it a considerable amount of praise in terms of how it was able to bring young and old, from preschoolers and students in the primary schools and secondary schools of different forms and grades, and of course the general public coming out, the staff of the institution also being very much part of this event. Of course, the principal highlight was really the local authors, nearly 50 local authors actually putting on display their various publications. And it was very well set up in terms of thematic areas. And so you had books that were being produced by St. Lucians for children, storybooks, coloring books, books to discover St. Lucia. There were books for preschoolers, a very, very wide range of productions. There were also religiously slanted material as well, but in very creative ways with puzzles and crosswords and lots of different options there as well in terms of books for purchase. You also had lots of research-oriented books, books on leadership, books on management. There were productions of course, literature, and lots of also inspirational books. Very, very wide cross section, books on wellness and health, and so we certainly do have quite a tremendous number of St. Lucians who have taken up the cause of writing. And it certainly is a lot easier, perhaps, these days to be able to publish, thanks to a lot of these online platforms. You can print as you go, and those types of arrangements available. And you've got the Amazons out there who are providing some opportunities there. So quite a lot on display. And certainly those were not all the writers in St. Lucia. Lots of authors um, were not actually present. And so it just really goes to show that we're becoming certainly a very literate society. And it's a good sign that if we are publishing more, you're getting a good sign of that the country's um, in terms of its understanding, its society is in fact maturing, and so that's a great sign. And of course, we do need to support these individuals who have taken on that undertaking. Some of them are very young, and I believe there were even students present who had published their own works. Some of them very, very colorful, very creative. So really tremendous undertaking. And of course, thanks to the Hunter Dre Francois, the librarian there, Mrs. Kathy Birch McDiarmid, and the team from the Nobel Laureate Festival Committee to actually be able to put all of this on at the Sir Arthur Lewis Community College. And of course, beyond that, there was lots of activity for children, from bouncing castles to games on the lawn and opportunities for having a really festive, fair-like environment in a very cool locale at that. So certainly excellent job by the Sir Arthur Lewis Community College in making our Nobel laureates more accessible. In fact, there was also an area of honoring Roddy Walcott, the twin brother of our late Nobel Prize winner for literature, Sir Derek Walcott. And he was also being honored. And there were also areas that were created for active artistic expression, like painting areas and what have you. So really, really quite a wonderful event. And really, as well, I should say, shows how the Nobel Laureate Festival and the Independence celebrations are really effectively merging into one sort of event, one continuum. And that is very good, I think. And perhaps the cooperation amongst the various organizers to synergize how these things are put on and how it becomes a lot more accessible and a lot more celebrated for everybody should certainly be taken up. So in terms of the Independence events, there was the day before that, the unveiling of the Independence calendar. And as I mentioned already, 2 events occurring yesterday. But going into February for Independence, a number of activities to mark the 47th anniversary of independence in St. Lucia. The theme, Devant Assam, Nourishing Our People, Strengthening Our Nation. And it's going to be kicking off with the Legacy Calypso Show, and that's happening at the Pavilion on the 7th of February. And certainly encouraging all to go out on that Saturday. And I'm sure that the tickets are going pretty fast, so you need to try to get them as early as possible. On the 14th, there is the 44th National Sports Award, and that's happening at Royalton. The 15th is an event called Plastic Jam 2026. Don't have the full details as to what that is involving, but that's being put on by the Castries Comprehensive Secondary School. It's happening there on the 15th of February. There is a Gold Cuisine Challenge on the 16th. Between the 17th and the 20th of February, there will be district rallies in all 8 districts around the island. Of course, these school rallies, very important for showcasing and celebration by our students, our teachers, and these institutions are going to come together to do just that. The launch of the Universal Healthcare name and logo, and that'll be happening on the 17th of February at the Finance Administrative Center. There is a Fête Maché Creole Set Lycée being put on by the National Skills Development Center, also on the 17th. And the culmination of the Independence Battle Relay, as always, ending in Castries Central. That'll be happening on the evening of the 17th of February. The 18th will see the launch of the official launch of the Julian Alfred commemorative stamp. So those who love all things philatelic, you can certainly take that in. And if you are a stamp collector, you better get your Julian Alfred stamp on the 18th of February. The opening of the Northern Divisional Headquarters, the administrative block of that facility up in Massad Grosley, that is carded to occur on the 19th of February. Also a book launch through GIS NTN Studios, On the Shoulders of Peasants. And the author was in fact was on one of those being highlighted, and the spotlight was on her yesterday as well at the event up at South Louis Community College. And she is Miss Louise Mathre Serrier, Mrs. Louise Mathre Serrier, historian, and she has in fact recently published On the Shoulders of Peasants, really a look into the evolution of the peasantry in St. Lucia, I believe taking it from the end of the 19th century and into the early 20th century. There is going to be a praise and worship ecumenical service, and that coming into that weekend, weekend of the 20th of February, the Friday. That is the main weekend of independence. The focus is really going to be quite a lot of activities in Micoud this year. And I suppose you could say Micoud is being identified as Independence City for the excuse me, just trying to open something here. All right, it's really going to be sort of the locus of independence activities for the 47th anniversary of independence. And so that praise and worship ecumenical service is going to be happening at the St. Lucy's Church, the National Shrine down in the community, the village of Micoud. The 20th is also going to be National Colors Day, and of course, encouragement there that corporate St. Lucia will come out and everybody will, in fact, be wearing their national colors on that day, and that's an island-wide undertaking. On the 20th and 21st, down at Independence Square, Vieux-Fort, the Independence Business Expo is going to be taking place. A focus on alternative sports, and that's happening in a number of different locations from that weekend, the 21st until the 28th of February. There has been around the island, across the island, around the island walk, which has been occurring for a number of years now, and remarkable athletes, no doubt, but young and old, people you perhaps would not consider athletes even, they have certainly made this an event that a lot of people look forward to following, and they usually start off at Massy supermarket in the cul-de-sac area and head all around the ring road of St. Lucia. And so that is, in fact, from the 21st, from Friday, usually Friday afternoon, but I will get the specifics on it as we get closer to the date. The Independence Gospel Concert is an event that is being put on by the Temple of Faith Pentecostal Church, and that's on the 21st at Odsa. There's also going to be a viewing of a documentary called The Wild Side at the Caribbean Cinemas. That's also on the 21st. There's an official flag raising ceremony and fireworks display, and that'll be happening in the city of Castries, as well as the towns of Grosley, Vieux-Fort, and Soufrière. Colors of the Nation Bikes and Car Edition. That's going to be happening up at the Pigeon Island Causeway. The military parade on Independence Day itself, certainly a staple where a lot of people want to go out and watch that spectacle, take in that military tattoo. And that is happening on Independence Day, Sunday, the military parade down at the Miku playing field. The National Independence Rally will also follow on the Miku playing field on that Sunday, as well as the Independence Showcase, all happening on Independence Day. Throughout the day, of course, the parade is usually very early it starts off in the morning, about 8 o'clock usually, and throughout the rest of the day, Independence Day, lots of activities, of course, happening. In Castries, there will still be the Seafood Fiesta or Seafood Fest, and that is through the Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries, and they are having that at the Castries Fisheries Complex. For those of you, of course, who love your drag racing and your auto sports, your motorsports, those will be happening on Independence Day down at the base in Vieux-Fort, Independence Drags, and it'll in fact continue into the following day. Of course, the following day will be a holiday, the 23rd of February, because Independence this year falls on a Sunday. And so for those of you who want to take it all in, that's happening on the base from the Sunday into the Monday. Also on Monday, the Bank of St. Lucia will be unveiling its story. I look back into the founding and the establishment of the bank, and how it grew as an institution, and the Bank of St. Lucia story unveiling. That'll be happening on the Monday, the holiday, at the Finance Administrative Center. Also down, there's supposed to be a Prime Minister's Independence Cup. There's a few other events slated, a masquerade film on the 28th, another event called Golden on the 28th as well at the Sandals Grand Ballroom, and also the Independence Games will be happening at the George Odlum Stadium as well as the Soufrière Mini Stadium, and that ends, in fact, I think on March the 1st, as well as a Pan Showcase on March the 7th. So more than a full month of activities slated for independence here in St. Lucia, 47th anniversary of independence, of political independence. And so certainly it is quite something to take in if you are visiting, or of course if you are a citizen. And there are a number of other events happening through the diaspora in parts of the world, in many other cities out there, London, New York, Toronto. They usually all have various events, and no doubt St. Lucians will also be celebrating wherever they may roam. So that's the Independence 47 calendar of events, and we'll perhaps be taking in a little bit more of it as the events draw near. So that's our dish of the day. And of course, we're going to head into our weather report at this time. And then we come back, we'll try to take in a few other happenings and maybe pay some homage to some individuals as well.
This has been The Daily Dish.
We got the time to make you go. We got the time to make you say, yeah, we'll have to make the right choice. Island style. Whoa, we got the style that will make you happy. Island style. Oh yeah, we make your dream come alive in Island style.
We have times and insects, mixes and grow. Everything you need is on the outside. For the best price and the latest style. Take a little drive down to Island Style car.
We got the time to make you go. We got the time to make you say, quality, price, service, choice. It's all an Island Style.
Visit us at our showrooms in Bellarosa, Rodney Bay, on the John Compton Highway, Cass Street, and behind Ruby's Gas Station on the Library Viewport Highway. So call us on 450-452 or 453-TILE. Island Style, Tile and Bath. When you think tile, think Island Style.
This is Radio Caribbean International. It's now time for the weather news.
So of course, the World Put What is hot time for your weather report as of 12 noon today, presented by Island Style Talent Bath. The forecast for St. Lucia Valley for the next 24 hours, winds will be blowing from the east to east-southeast near 50 miles per hour or 24 kilometers per hour. The weather generally cloudy with scattered light to moderate showers. There is an advisory in areas where small craft operators and sea beavers are advised to exercise caution due to brisk winds and locally rough seas. The forecast for the Los Antilles generally cloudy with scattered light to moderate showers over the southern Windward Islands and areas further south. Elsewhere, fair to partly cloudy with a few showers. And the weather summary, the Atlantic high pressure system will maintain moderate easterly winds across the region during the next few days. Also, a low level trough will cause an increase in cloudiness and shower activity over the southern Los Antilles during the forecast period. And this has been your weather forecast as of 12 noon today, presented by Island Style Talent Bath.
This has been RCI's Weather News. For more information, call the Weather Hotline at 454-3452. RCI 101 number 1.
And welcome back to the Lunchroom here at Radio Caribbean International. And of course, the number to call in to tell us what's on your plate today, it is 452-3046. Again, 452-3046. WhatsApp number 724-0008. Again, 724-00. Actually, no, that's not even correct anymore. I'm giving an old WhatsApp number. The new number is 284-6001. Again, 284-6001. That's our new WhatsApp number. And of course, our regular mainline number is 452-3046. Now, last week, Friday, there was actually the send-off for St. Lucia's last veteran of World War II, Mr. Reginald Sherabin. And I believe we do have a clip coming out of HTS that actually shares him and his story, a bit of a story of his life, Mr. Sherabin. And so I think we should perhaps share that with the listening audience at this time.
His service in his honor. The family, friends, and colleagues of the late war veteran and humanitarian gathered for his service in his honor on Friday, January 23rd. Reaching the milestone age of 101, Mr. Sherabin's resume of service to St. Lucia, the Caribbean region, and by extension the world, left a lasting impact that was shared through heartfelt tributes. Though saddened by his passing, the family chose to celebrate a long life that was purposeful and deeply respected.
What he sent was part of his pension. It surprised me at that time, and I asked Miss Jackie, who is this person? Mr. Cherubin has served as the chairman of the Salvation Army Advisory Board for many years. Although he could not physically attend the board meetings,
he was a man of structure. a man of principle, a man that stand on his feet to get what he wanted. From his experience as an ex-military man, he wanted correct and direct answer only, nothing else. In addition, because of his sharp memory, he was able to relay stories about the British Army.
The commanding officer of the Salvation Army, Jude Saint-Just, recalled his first interaction with Mr. Sherbin after receiving a donation from him, despite Sherbin being a pensioner, an act that inspired him deeply. The pastor of the Redeemed Church of God also reflected on Mr. Sherbin's sharp mind, even at age 96, and his willingness to assist church members in need through his daughter Jackie.
Not long ago, we celebrated him as our centurion, a young 100, still sharp in mind, rich in stories, leading songs, sharing laughter, and reminding us that aging is not about slowing down, but about standing firm in who you are. Today, we reflect on that same life, now complete. And we say without hesitation, this is a life well lived.
The president of the St. Lucia Ex-Servicemen League, Kenroy Justin, shared his experiences interacting with Mr. Sherbin and the wisdom he passed on through detailed storytelling. He said Sherbin's accolades exceeded the ordinary and that his compassion and the purpose to serve will forever remain etched in the hearts of his colleagues.
Persons passing on the road in front of the house would marvel that this old man was listening to reggae, Dennery segment, calypso, etc. He loved music. When we were growing up, we were exposed to all genres of music as he had a great collection of records in those days. He was a great singer with a great voice, and he was also a great dancer before he had the falls.
In her eulogy, his daughter Jackie Sherbin recalled her father's principles, love for serving people in need, and his fondness for music. She said the values he instilled shaped her and her siblings, and that they will uphold his legacy in every way possible. Other tributes included musical renditions, poetry, and a touching homily by his longtime friend, Monsignor Patrick Anthony, who reminded those present of the importance of service just as Mr. Sherbin lived. The life celebration service was held on Friday, January 23rd at Our Lady of Fatima Church in Leclerc, Castries. For the DBS News World, Manasseh Stanislas reporting.
Right, sorry about that. I said HTS is actually DBS that did that production. And so, of course, we thank them for that. The life of Mr. Reginald Sherbin at 101, certainly very remarkable one. And it is we're getting to the point, of course, where a lot of these individuals who were part of a very defining moment in history have departed or are departing. He would have been the last who was in active service during World War II, and pretty much a lot of the things that we take for granted post World War II, came about because of what occurred in World War II, because of gentlemen like Mr. Sherbin. A lot of the structures that we know today, the United Nations, and things that occurred in terms of better healthcare, and even in places like the United Kingdom, a lot of changes came in that post-World War II era, geared towards the betterment of people and rights of people. And so we certainly do have to look to that generation and remember them for the contribution that they made. Yesterday, I should make mention that I was actually participating in the relay for the constituency of Castries East. And albeit I don't live in Castries East, I had a grand aunt. In fact, most of my grand aunts and my grandfather, they in fact grew up in the community of Castries East, the constituency of Castries East. And so was asked to, in fact, recognize the contribution of my grand aunt, Sonia George. And I think I might just actually share her biography, a short biography about the contribution that she made coming out of that same period. And as well, although she herself did not participate in World War II, she was only 9 years old at the time when the war started. An older sister of hers, Rowena, was in fact one of those who left St. Lucia, and she went on to serve to the United Kingdom to actually become a nurse, so that she could in fact support that wartime effort, and became a registered nurse, and later on, in fact, eventually settled in Trinidad and Tobago, becoming the nurse at the University of West Indies, St. Augustine. But Sonia was a little younger, and in fact, the last of that group, that generation, and so she was being honored yesterday. And so, in fact, I think I will share her biography, of course, because in many of these instances at these events, you don't actually get much time to actually get into some of the details in terms of one's life. And so I think it's also fitting to remember her at this time. Margaret Teresa Sonia George, the sixth and last child of William George and Anna Zilta George nee St. Prix, was born on the 22nd of February 1930. While her elder siblings were born at Soufrière, Sonia was born and raised at Marsha, literally a stone's throw away from the now Bishop Charles Gachet Combined School. She would enter the teaching service as a pupil teacher at the age of 15, first teaching at the RC Boys Infant School. She became one of the island's first qualified teachers, attending the Urdeston Teachers Training College in Barbados in 1950, and went on to receive other professional certificates from Trinity College of Music in 1951 and the College of Preceptors in 1959, and UWI Mona in 1964. Sonia dedicated 40 years of her life to the teaching profession, half of which was as a principal, serving as the headmistress of the Cicero Combined School between the years 1965 to 1969, and principal of the Marsha Combined School from 1969 to 1985. George House at the latter school is named in her honor. She went on to serve as the bursar of St. Mary's College until 1999. She helped many a Sumerian or college boy during those years, and as an associate member of the Presentation Brothers, she could well have been considered a bro. As a student at the Ave Maria School, Sonia had developed a love of dramatics. She later joined the St. Lucia Arts Guild and the Creative and Performing Arts Society, and attended Caribbean drama workshops across the islands. She electrified a town hall audience in her performance in her role as the grandmother in Maria Marcia Lorca's play The House of Bernarda Alba, directed then by George Odler, winning her the Arts Guild Award for the Best Supporting Actress that year. If that was not enough, Sonia channeled her creativity into dance and was a trained quadrille dancer. She became a founding member of Les Danseurs Traditionnels de Sept-Lycée and engaged in dance training of many young children. Sonia was a charitable soul, dedicating much of her life to helping those in need. She was a fervent and prayerful Catholic who visited the sick and shut-in weekly, whether on her own or with the Legion of Mary. However, the organization she was perhaps most closely associated with was the St. Lucia Girl Guides. from ranger to Tony Owl, Brown Owl, to district commissioner, and lastly, island commissioner, Sonia dedicated countless years to the formation of young girls throughout the country. She had a camping license and conducted countless camps for the girls, ensuring that they were fed and felt community. Around the campfires, every girl showcased their talent. She instilled in every girl the guide's motto, be prepared. Through guiding, Sonia developed friendships around the world. From Martinique to Mexico, from Guyana to Germany, Sonia had a friend. And her love for St. Lucia meant that she was always willing to show endless hospitality to visitors. She was a consummate socialite with a deep knowledge of friends and family all over the country. A birthday would not pass without a call from Sonia, nor would she miss a funeral. Her nickname became Mileage, as her car, license plate 260, would traverse every island road. In all this, she never forgot Monkey Hill, Marcia, and her home at Entrepot. And of course, she is remembered by many whose lives she touched, including her friends, her very close friends, who were in fact honored yesterday, the likes of Miss Alicia John and Mrs. Zenita D. Myers. And Sonia George, with her love of life, her energetic spirit, shows us that serving others is an enjoyable, beautiful, and wonderful way to live. So just a bit of a memory and a sharing of the life of Sonia George. Of course, her birthday, she is an independence baby in every sense of it, being born on the 22nd of February, though, of course, we were not yet independent at that time, back in 1930. So I just thought I should share that with the public. Now, of course, if you want to do some sharing and your thoughts and thus far in terms of some of the activities for independence, you can actually call in. The number to do so is 452-3046. Again, 452-3046. And if you also want to reach us on our WhatsApp platform, that number is 724-000. Sorry, that number is 284-6001. Again, 284-6001. Now, I do believe we actually have a clip available as well, which shows the shares what occurred yesterday up at the South Lewis Community College. And I believe that is Writers in the Spotlight. It actually gives a sense of all the happenings yesterday up at St. Mary's College. I think we have a call coming in. We'll probably take that call first before we get to that video. Good afternoon. Welcome to the lunchroom. And what's on your plate today?
This is George.
Hello, good day.
Yeah, good day, good day. Yeah, I remember your aunt very much. Teacher Sonia. She used to live, going to Bacatel, but before you take Bacatel in the flat there, she did live by neighbor, Mr. Leon, that used to work for Clavier.
That's correct.
And your father and your uncle used to attend RC Boys School while your aunt was a teacher.
I suspect so,
and
yes.
I know her very well. She was a tall lady, good size.
Mm-hmm.
And she always walked from home to school, from school to home.
Right.
Yeah, because we did not transport on that time there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So those people get good exercise by walking. And I know that lady very much, just like I know your grandfather, Mr. Ivan George. And while I was downstairs, your father was in second standard upstairs.
Okay.
Yes, your father and
Yes.
your uncle.
Okay, yes.
Those
Aldrich.
guys, people I know very, very much. Very much.
Yes.
Okay?
Well, thanks very much for sharing, caller.
Yeah, okay.
All right, then, and have a good one. Very interesting sharing there, of course, from a very regular caller. Of course, the number to call in is 452-3046, 3046. There's also a very interesting article written some years ago by one Mr. Hogarth Hippolyte. And it's a bit long, so I'm not sure if we're going to be able to get through the entire article. But it's certainly one which I would like to share at some point, where he goes into quite a lot of detail about his growing up and attending the St. Aloysius RC Boys school. He gives very interesting details, even down to the date of the school when it opened for the first time on August the 16th, 1909, and how it was founded, of course, by Father Louis Tapor, and goes into lots of details indeed about even the headmaster of that time, Mr. Matthew George St. Clair, and very affectionately known by Abby, by the name Abby, and speaks to, of course, lots of the happenings in those years. So certainly, very nice article there by Mr. Hogarth Hippolyte, and many would know his brother here in St. Lucia, Mr. Kendall Hippolyte, and so certainly we'll get to that at some point. But let's take in this clip coming out of DBS as well, on the just concluded Writers in the Spotlight.
Writers, authors, and poets were stationed at the Sir Arthur Lewis Community College and met with the public on Wednesday, 20th January to showcase their work and inspire the upcoming generation. The Writers in the Spotlight Forum was part of the school's calendar of activities for Nobel Laureate Month celebrations, honoring the late Sir Derek Walcott. Anthony Wilkie Jr., Senior Officer for Training, Promotion, and Development at CDF, spoke on the importance of the forum.
I think it's quite fitting, especially from the CDF perspective, coming off of our lecture, the Sir Derek Walcott Memorial Lecture, which was aptly titled Alice Tuamamai Sir Leave. And this initiative today is an expose of local writers, showcasing that we do have local literature from homeborn writers, and we have access to books. So it's just a matter of how do we create an atmosphere where everyone, not just young people, but everyone is actually interested in reading.
Mr. Wilkie Jr. says he's grateful that the college continues to partner with the foundation, as Sir Derek's collection forms part of St. Lucia's cultural identity and is a beacon of inspiration for creatives. Tracy Pilgrim George, Acting Director of Internationalization, Advancement and Partnerships of the college, thanked partners for coming on board to honor the legacy of the Walcott brothers and the schools which visited the campus to support the authors.
We've also partnered with UWI. We're showcasing today all of the manuscripts of Roderick Walcott, who is the twin brother of Sir Derek Walcott. We have number of exciting activities happening. Our head librarian, Kathy Birch McDiarmid, is spearheading this particular event for Nobel Laureate activities for the South Louis Community College. And so within the Derek Walcott Library, we have author talks. So we have persons who are sharing their writing experience.
Members of the public have been encouraged to make use of the Sir Derek Walcott Library, which houses his lifetime book collection, which can be studied. Students are also advised to read and become expressive, as it opens numerous career opportunities for them.
Almost a year to date, I was actually launching this book, Tourism, which is my thesis. And tourism, I've talked about this, is really a look into St. Lucia's tourism product. It was a study done from 2003 to 2023. Certainly being out in this environment gives me the fortitude, the mental fortitude to really decide that I want to write and I want to do more nonfiction.
I got two books, both on leadership. One teaches you how to overcome difficult situations, leveraging 24 different leadership skills. And the second one, you know how when we go to a party, if you show up too early, you're cooking the food, no matter what the time is, you come late. Well, there's an unwritten rule that you need to come late. Well, the second book is on unwritten rules, how women and underrepresented professionals can overcome the challenges of following unwritten rules and do that using their God-given skills.
For the DBS News World, Manasseh Stanislas reporting.
And of course, that occurred yesterday at the Morn at South Louis Community College. And big kudos to all the writers who participated in putting it on, who brought out their materials and their books, and are able to actually share, of course, with that at that event. And I mean, there have been a lot of calls as well for having a proper bookstore in St. Lucia. The absence of a bookshop is one of the laments we, in fact, heard coming out of this year's Derek Walcott lecture presenter, Ms. Canicia Lubra, pointing out that we don't actually have sort of a bookshop or bookstore where one could get a wide variety of different genres of books. We do have a few that, of course, specialize primarily in terms of school materials, maybe religious materials, but certainly the need for such is wanting. And the Derek Walcott Library certainly worth a visit to actually witness the collection of Sir Derek's library, which in fact has just recently been listed on the through UNESCO as part of Memories of the World program that they have. And it is certainly a good work that a good institution that the South Louis Community College has in fact taken up for itself and for the legacy of our country. And certainly I think it would be a good idea if you've ever got a chance to go up to the Morn to be able to check them out and see what's there, what would have been in certainly Sir Derek's collection, which has of course been very kindly donated to the college. And there is value in the collection of books as well, right? Books in and of themselves are art. In fact, one of the authors who was present yesterday, Mr. Akeem Larcher, in fact, he did show he had some poetry where the poetry itself was in an artistic form. The words created an artistic form, and whether it was in the shape of a snowflake or some other geometry, certainly very, very interesting. And so there is, in fact, even in that sense, the beauty in the words themselves. In some cultures, that is certainly a big deal. Calligraphy is certainly a big deal in, let's say, Asian cultures. The actual words and how they are sculpted, very, very, very important. So there is a lot that has to be taken in terms of the physical form of books and how they are presented. And so that's still very much important, even in today's world, where we are very much shifting towards an era where everything is online. People use tablets to read, and their Kindles are what they depend on, and the actual physical book is no longer as sought after. But I think there still is going to be, as the years go on, value and importance of having that physical record, that physical collection of papers. And so let's hope we can actually see that we also can have as a country that opportunity for our own authors to be able to share, but not just our own, but of course also an opportunity for us to gain information, because the whole transmission of information through books is how we share and we learn. And so that is also equally as important. Even in this era of artificial intelligence, it still has tremendous value. Well, that's our program for today here at the Lunchroom, and hopefully you can catch us again tomorrow for another program. I'm your host, Calix George Jr., saying goodbye.